Well, it's Friday the 13th, March 2020, and Joe and I are headed to Daytona Bike Week. And right now we're heading to Earl's, kind of a renowned biker bar that, according to Joe, once upon a time, was a pretty rough place, and I guess in some ways still is. It's a very nice day. It's about 82 degrees, very comfortable. The traffic has been unbearable today. Just kind of to put a point in time here, the coronavirus is the big threat of the day, probably more from 24-hour news media than the actual virus itself. But in any event, still obviously something that you want to be very careful about. I was in great admiration of the recent rest stop on the Turnpike. We came up for about 70 or 80 miles on the Turnpike. You walk in, it's got an automatic door. The restrooms don't have doors, so you can walk right in. Big foam soap dispensers, big sink. You can wash your hands, blow dry your hands. Never have to touch anything. You leave, you got an automatic door taking you out. And it's always been like that, but you really come to appreciate it now with all this German virus threat. So my hat is off to how Florida operates its rest stops for this kind of stuff that we're looking out for now. Great job, just a great job. Very well stacked. Purell dispensers everywhere. We must have passed a dozen of them just walking in and out of the bathroom there, and they're all full and all usable, and people are using them. It's a good thing. All right, I don't know how far up the road Earl's is, but we'll make a right turn on US 1 up here without getting run over. And then we're going to stop and have lunch, a little lunch at Earl's. Joe was trying to remember what I had last year. I'm thinking, wow, I don't know, my memory didn't go that far back. I think it was a Stromboli, though, he said, that struck a chord, a memory chord. So maybe, but it was pretty good. I guess they have a few things on their menu that are, the waitress, that's what I remember last year, said these are kind of what we're renowned for, and I picked one of those things, and boy, it was good, as I recall. All right, we'll come back to you when we arrive at Earl's. Vero Beach we are right now. Well, we just took this little turn off that's right by the beach. So I think we're coming up on Earl's here somewhere. We'll find out in a minute. Look at that. Wow. Nice. Sebastian. Welcome to Sebastian. I don't even know how wide the intercoastal is here. Pretty wide. Half mile maybe. There's the Popo. Right there. Hey, unmarked car. I think that's Earl's right there. A lot of bikes. Let's see if there's parking. Find out in a minute. Yeah, I'm sure there is. Well, definitely one of the highlights of the trip. We had lunch at Earl's, and this is the bridge, a few miles south of Earl's to get back over to the ocean. I don't know how you can see through the camera, but out in front of us about a mile is the ocean there as we come down off the bridge. Look at this nice neighborhood. Got their Gator Lake, all that kind of stuff. Entering Orchard Island. Posh area. Heading due east, right towards the beach, and getting very close. So here we are northbound, north of whatever that Orchid State Park is, Sebastian Inlet State Park, left, which is going to be right on the edge of this inlet. We're going to go over it. The park could be off to our left here. Melbourne, 20 miles in Brevard County, and there it is. We'll go out on that pier on the way home. We did that coming down. It was packed, a lot more people. There's hardly anybody on it now. But I think on my video last year, that's we came back that way and walked out on the pier. It was neat. I'm sure we'll do that again. Well, here we are the morning after the first night we're here. So today's Saturday the 14th. And the coronavirus has struck at Daytona Bike Week. You, by the time you get this, will already know this. But we that are here now living it real time are bewildered. So what happened last night? Well, as we were out on Friday night enjoying Daytona Bike Week on Main Street, sausage and pepper sandwiches, they even had some IPA bottled beer. Everything was great. The crowds are down a little bit, which made it a little easier to get around, but still lots of bikes and lots of stuff to do. But the legislators and lawmakers were hard at work. Not the national ones, the local ones. And they decided that tomorrow night they're shutting down Daytona Bike Week. And why am I so bewildered? Because they let Daytona Bike Week run for 8 nights. They did nothing for 8 nights. And on the 9th and final night of Daytona Bike Week, they decide they're all gonna but shut it down. Where is the rationale for that I really feel for the vendors. You know, this is their big day. Mark everything down last night, or whatever they do, however they conduct their business. It just blows me away that anybody can rationalize this is a good decision. 8 nights in a row, 9th and final night, basically shutting you down. The rules are that anybody that caters to an audience of larger than 100 or 100 larger or something like that, that they're going to have to, as they literally put it in the news, pack up and leave starting at 8 o'clock this morning. I can't believe it. So we'll see how this affects today. Obviously, we'll be there. We're at a hotel, the Fountain Hotel, just a couple blocks north of Main Street. So from our area, we could just walk right up there. But the food is so excellent. I really hope they haven't shut all that down. I mean, some of the food's inside the establishments, and when you're in line for food, there's definitely not 100 people. There's maybe 100 people enjoying the other things that are there to be offered, but not the food. There might be 5 or 6, 7 people in line. So I hope they don't shut them down. I don't know how these things are going to be applied. And I think that usually here at Daytona Beach, they import law enforcement from surrounding communities, so they're pretty well staffed when you're out on the strip. Anyway, we're on our way to Destination Daytona right now. Joe is very interested in upgrading his stereo. His bike is, I think, a 2010, I think. It's either a 10 or 12. Anyway, it's got the older radio, not like this setup here. And he listens to his, he doesn't wear a headset, so he listens to his through the speakers, and he wants a boom boom. And believe, last night we heard some boom boom motorcycles. We're going to hear some rad stereo systems. Come on up to Daytona Bike Week. Anyway, nice ride along the beach here. Hopefully coming up on Daytona, Destination Daytona soon. As you can see, I don't know if you can see it through the thing here, I'm down to about less than an eighth of a tank. Got to get gas. All right, coming to Flagler Beach. There's the pier. And got my low fuel warning on. Thought I was going to stop for gas there, but that gas station had no gas. It's nice here. Let's see, what's the temperature right now? 72 degrees. So it feels a little cool, but very nice. There's my, I don't know if you can see it glowing, but my low fuel light glowing. Everything in working order, at least for a few more minutes. Alright, we spent hours at Destination Daytona. We're now hooked up with my buddy Howard right in front of me, and other buddy Oli right to the right. Oli's visiting from Sweden, comes every year about this time. And Joe's right behind me. And I got some new shocks for my Harley today. I got some Pro Action shocks. I really can't believe how much of a difference they make. Just firing it up. The guy had me take a couple little test rides just to see if the compression and dampening were set up correctly. And just firing it up and going the first 50 feet, you can tell the difference. And particularly when you hit any dips, which I could only find a couple on the test ride, a couple little manhole covers and drainage dips. But it's completely different. We visited a couple of places and they said changing your rear shocks on a Harley fixes about 80% of the problems, and you get the rest of the 20 with some fork supplies. But I decided to see, here's some bumps right there. It feels so much different. Track straighter. Because of the rebound dampening, when it goes down, it comes up nice and slow, so it doesn't feel like you're bobbling up and down. You can feel the down part, but it comes up so slow you can't feel the up part. It makes it ride a lot smoother. Anyway, we're heading westbound now. I zoom into the national forest and do a little bit of ride for a couple hours. It's almost 3 o'clock. We're there for quite some time. A couple of the vendors were telling us that traffic's down because of the coronavirus stuff. It's crowded, but not so crowded. You can't walk around, get around, you know, and get help pretty quickly. I took a couple videos while I was there. Not enough. Got hot. 85 degrees. It was supposed to be like 80 tops. Much hotter. Alright, we'll check back later when we get out here a little bit further west. You gotta love these kinds of roads where the trees grow over the top. Kind of neat. And just a couple motorcycles. And a trike. So even a better street, because now we're riding alongside this little canal. Kind of cool. This road is just paralleling right on this canal. Probably some good stopping points, like these people stopped right here. Real pretty out here. Almost water. Interestingly, we just passed a sheriff that was on a motorcycle out here with Daytona Bike Week. They're all pretty much at Bike Week or nearby. There's people shooting your picture. I should shoot their picture so that they can buy from me. But anyways, it's weird seeing the sheriff out here because just out on a leisurely ride in the country. It's always nice to have a guide in Howard who knows where all the good roads are. Somebody's got some traps out there. Oh, a couple motorcycles.